Okay, last video, last video for 1302. First of all, I'd like to say I've very much enjoyed this class, and I'd probably, and just having a lot of senioritis right now, and so that's the only thing that's holding me back right now, but it's definitely a good class, and I've definitely enjoyed taking it online compared to in a classroom. I really think that's helped me a lot more, having the papers online rather than in my backpack in a crumpled mess, because I'm not organized. The piece that I really want to talk about is Bambara's The Lesson. I really enjoyed that week that we did that story plus Margaret Atwood's Happy Endings, because Happy Endings was an awesome story. It was a lot of realism that I don't think you get a lot when you read stories for school. Like, I'm used to reading like Chuck Palahniuk for fun, Stephen King, and they have a lot of realism in their stories, but you get stuff like Edgar Allan Poe, which they're all, and Ernest Hemingway, and they're all really good writers, but I feel like they don't have that modern, real, this is stuff that happens twist on it that you get from Margaret Atwood's story, which is what I really enjoyed. But I'm talking about The Lesson. I really enjoyed the symbolism. I had to read that story about 3 times because it's got so much, and it's definitely not plot heavy. Like, you have kids going to the mall, going to look at stuff, just looking at stuff, being kids. But once you add the literary elements that are so prominent in the story, then it's really where it starts to pop. Especially the symbolism. You have the paperweight, which made no sense to me at first. I was just like, why would kids care about a paperweight? It's just a piece of rock. But you start to see, for me, the paperweight represented a lot of like, getting an office job, something white collar that that's stable. Like, paperweight holds stuff down. It meant, white collar, stability, something that you'd have for years and years and years. Which, you look at the time period, which is also something I'm going to talk about. And you had the black community didn't get those kinds of jobs. Usually, if they got jobs, it was usually, busy work, all the dirty jobs that no one wanted to do. So you get a lot of people doing those jobs, or, being the help in the house, and that's all the kind of stuff they really got to do. I really liked the paperweight part once I really understood, and then, you had the microscope, which was a lot of, knowledge. You get that community back then, living in Harlem, all those kinds of places, they didn't get that much, education. It wasn't good for them. It really wasn't good in general, but for them especially, it was bad. And, then you have the boat, which is money for me, because lots of rich people have yachts and la da 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 da. But, going back to the education, that's where the, really the time period and the writing style come in. I really enjoyed the writing style. That's the one thing that caught me, because then it gives away everything else that's going to make the story, more than just a plot, because you have stories that are good with plot, and then you have stories that are good with literary elements. And I feel like this really, outdid itself. Bambara really outdid herself with the literary elements. Especially just the way she wrote her story. You have a lot of IN apostrophes instead of INGs, which, gives away that it's the part of speech makes you think of, like, for lack of a better word, Ebonics. It makes you think of that. Then it gives away, if they're going to where, it's more of a, I think at one point she calls it kind of a white people store. You have a lot of white people in fur. You know, she said, white people crazy. You have that kind of stuff at that time. It gives away its more during the civil rights movement. So, you know, all of the writing style gives away, you know, what point in time they're at, and, you know, who they are, really. You know, I don't think she ever really describes, she doesn't go into detail about, you know, skin color or anything, but you just assume because of the writing style. And, you know, it's like with Shakespeare, you get a lot of formal speech most of the time, and you automatically know it's Shakespeare's time. And then one of the better examples, I think, and more modern would be John Green and David Levithan wrote a book called Will Grayson, Will Grayson. And they each, John Green wrote the odd chapters and David Levithan wrote the even chapters. And John Green's chapters were more formal and more, you know, everything was capitalized, proper grammar. And then you have David Levithan's chapters were less formal, nothing was capitalized really. And it was supposed to kind of, you know, give the dividing line of the more educated kid and then the other less educated kid, which is fantastic in a story. I always love if they're, you know, you got good literary elements, and plus that book has a fantastic plot. I recommend it for anyone. So just having a good writing style, I think, you know, and Bambara had a good writing style, and that's what I really enjoyed about that book. That's it. I've really enjoyed this class. It's my first experience with an online college class, and it was really great. And I've really enjoyed the stories we've been reading, but I'm just really excited for classes to be over. So that's it.